There's a moment I still remember from years ago. A man in his early 70s, quiet as a library on a rainy afternoon, sat across from me in the exam room. He didn't come for pills or procedures. He just wanted to talk. And as he stared down at his hands, he said something I'll never forget. "It's not that I can't. It's that I don't feel anything anymore." He wasn't talking about function. He was talking about the silence inside him, the kind that grows over time, not suddenly, but slowly, like dust in the corners of a home that used to feel warm. And I've heard versions of that silence from hundreds of men. Not failures, not weak, just worn down. Men who used to laugh with their wives in the kitchen. Men who used to feel that subtle charge under their skin when someone touched their arm. But over time, something began to fade. First, it's energy, then sleep, then that quiet hum in the body that tells us we're still alive, still present, still men. I'm Dr. Thomas Leighton. I spent over 40 years listening to steelworkers, retired Marines, postmasters, and high school coaches. Men who gave so much of themselves, but rarely stopped to ask, what is still possible in this season of life? If this message speaks to you, if something about it feels like your story, just type 1. And if you're unsure, type 0. Either way, thank you for listening. Because the truth is, you're not done. Not by a long shot. And sometimes, all it takes is a small act of attention. There's a simple blend I want to talk to you about. Not because it's trendy, not because it's a miracle, but because I've seen what it does not just in numbers on a chart, but in the way a man walks back into his own skin. Warm filtered water, a slice of lemon, a thumb of fresh ginger, a spoon of raw honey. It sounds too simple, I understand. But simplicity is sometimes exactly what the aging body needs. You see, after 60, our systems don't respond well to shock. They don't want to be pushed. They want to be invited. And this drink, when done thoughtfully, does just that. There's research behind it too. For instance, ginger contains compounds called gingerols. According to a 2020 review in Phytotherapy Research, gingerol helps increase nitric oxide production in the body, a key mechanism in improving blood vessel dilation and circulation. Why does that matter? Because blood flow isn't just about staying warm or keeping your heart ticking. It's the lifeblood of intimacy, mood, cognition, and, quite literally, the feeling of being alive. When blood doesn't reach certain parts of the body, those parts begin to feel distant, like a room you stopped entering. But I've seen it come back. Not with fanfare, not like flipping a switch, but slowly, over days, like the way your body used to feel after a good day outside. That quiet warmth, that hum, that steadiness in the breath. The honey, especially raw, unfiltered, is not just sweet, it's fuel. It contains glucose and fructose in a balance the body absorbs gently. The Journal of the American College of Nutrition notes that raw honey can help regulate blood sugar and even has antioxidant properties that support vascular health. And the lemon? Well, I've always said, don't throw away the peel. The oils in the skin, particularly D-limonene, have been shown to reduce inflammation in small vessels. According to Harvard Health, lemon peel also contains flavonoids that support capillary integrity, which is critical for cognitive clarity and sexual performance alike. A man's body is a conversation between systems. When you improve circulation, even a little sleep improves. The brain fog lifts. You get up less during the night. Your hands don't feel as cold. Your skin reacts differently to touch. And you notice things. That second look from your partner. That spark when you laugh together. That moment when you lie down, and instead of feeling like a spectator in your own body, you feel present. Not like when you were 25, but like yourself. A better version of now. I'll say this. Gently, most men give up too early. They try something for a few days. Then the weekend gets busy. Or they reach for bottled lemon juice, thinking it's the same. But it's not just about the ingredients. It's about the intention. When you peel a fresh lemon, simmer ginger gently, stir raw honey into warm, not hot water. You're telling your body, I'm here. I'm listening. I haven't given up on you. This isn't stimulation. It's nourishment. It's not about force. It's about flow. And that small difference, That shift from pushing the body to caring for it can change everything. If you're finding this helpful or you're just beginning to think differently about your health after 60, consider hitting the subscribe button. Not because it changes the algorithm, but because it helps you stay in this conversation. And we both know these conversations matter. Because we don't always say things out loud. We show them in the small ways we care for ourselves. So try it. Wake up tomorrow. Bring some water to a boil. Add thin slices of fresh ginger, not powdered. Let it simmer gently for about 6 minutes. Slice a fresh lemon, peel and all. Soak a few raisins if you have them. Let it all rest. Only when it cools slightly then, and only then stir in the honey. And then sit. Sip slowly. Let your body feel it. Not for magic, not for performance, but because you're still here. And that, my friend, is worth remembering. And if you stay with it, if you give it the space and patience it deserves, you may begin to notice subtle changes, the kind that don't announce themselves with noise, but rather return quietly, like an old familiar tune. I had a patient, Howard, 68. He'd been married 43 years, a mechanic by trade. Hands like worn leather. Voice low. He told me after a few weeks of preparing this drink, not much had changed until one morning he noticed something. He hadn't felt that chill in his feet when stepping out of bed. That was it. Just a little warmth. But it meant something. Because warmth is a signal that blood is moving, that nerves are listening, that the body, long ignored, is beginning to trust again. I don't want to oversell what this blend can do. I don't believe in quick fixes. But I do believe in rhythm. And when you introduce something like this, something daily, calming, honest, it starts to build a rhythm your body remembers. From a physiological standpoint, we know this matters. Circulation improves with consistency. Even mild vasodilators like ginger, when taken regularly, can support healthier endothelial function. That's the inner lining of your blood vessels. The Journal of Nutrition published a study in 2019 showing that regular intake of ginger can help reduce arterial stiffness, especially in men over 60. That's not a gimmick. That's your arteries remembering how to flex again. But this isn't just biology. It's personnel. When the warmth comes back to your fingertips, when your stomach no longer feels tight in the mornings, when your breathing becomes smoother during a walk, that's your body saying, I'm still in this with you. And with each cup, if you're paying attention, your sense of self may start to reawaken too. Some men tell me they sleep better. Others say they feel less agitated. One man, Robert, 74, widower, used to drive school buses, told me he started to write poetry again. Nothing fancy, just a few lines he'd scribbled down after his morning cup. He said, "It's not about sex, Doc. It's about feeling like a man again. Not a machine, not a patient, but a man." That stuck with me. Because most of the time, what we're truly craving isn't performance, it's presence. And circulation, true healthy blood flow is what makes presence possible. That's why I talk about this drink with such care. Not because it replaces medicine, but because it restores something medicine can't always reach. And yet, nearly 9 out of 10 men who try it don't stick with it. Not because it doesn't work, but because they're used to giving up. Used to thinking small missteps, like using microwaved water, or skipping the lemon peel didn't matter. But they do. Boiling ginger too long breaks down the very compound your vessels need. Using bottled lemon juice? That skips the essential oils that calm your capillaries. Adding honey to hot water? That destroys the enzymes your body uses to digest it smoothly. It's not about perfection, but it is about presence. A small, mindful ritual every morning that tells your nervous system, your bloodstream, and even your mind, I'm here. Not rushing, not giving up, just showing up. That changes a man. And over time, that change becomes visible. You start standing differently, looking people in the eye again. You become more touchable. Your gestures soften. Your mood deepens. Because when blood flows, so does connection. Now, I know some men hesitate to try things like this. Sounds like a health food blog, they joke. I need something stronger. But here's the thing, this isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's choosing something rooted, not hyped. Something your grandfather might have done without even knowing why it worked. And we now know why it works. Take raisins, for example. Soaked and simmered with ginger, they release resveratrol and iron, two compounds essential for red blood cell health and vascular repair. A study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that resveratrol improves mitochondrial function, the energy center of your cells. That can support not just circulation, but stamina, focus, and even mood regulation. So yes, a few raisins. Nothing heroic, but deeply restorative. When paired with lemon, honey, and ginger, what you have isn't a recipe, it's a remedy. And more than that, it's a way to come back home to yourself. That's what I want you to understand. This isn't about becoming who you were. It's about becoming fully who you are right now. You may notice a change in how your clothes fit, how your skin feels under warm water, how you approach your evening routine. The body doesn't shout when it's healing. It whispers. And if you're quiet enough, you'll hear it. There's a moment that tends to happen around week 3. I've heard this story too many times to ignore. A man's lying in bed. He's not trying to do anything, just resting. And his partner leans in, maybe touches his chest or his shoulder. And he doesn't flinch. He doesn't stiffen. He stays. That's when he realizes something has returned. Not urgency, not the pressure to perform, but presence. And sometimes, that's the most intimate thing of all. No supplement can buy that. But one choice, made each morning, can slowly invite it back. If you've made it this far with me, I want to thank you. And I want to say this as plainly as I can. It is never too late. And you are not beyond restoration. Not if you're breathing. Not if you still have love to give. Start with a cup. Let it warm your hands. And then let your hands, steady and sure, begin to warm the people around you again. And from there, life begins to shift not in great leaps, but in small, almost imperceptible turns. You find yourself reaching for things differently, walking slower, but steadier, listening more, saying a little less, but meaning more when you speak. You might not think a simple morning drink could lead to that, but healing has never been loud. It's a man sitting in silence, sipping something warm, and choosing again and again not to disappear. I remember another patient, Michael, 81 years old, lost his wife 3 years earlier. He came to me not because of pain or fear, but because he didn't feel anything at all. His words, not mine. And over the course of our visits, he didn't ask for medication. He asked for permission. "Is it too late to feel again?" he asked. "No, Michael, it's not." He started with the drink. Just that. Nothing dramatic. And one day, after about a month, he said, "I didn't fall asleep watching television. I watched the whole thing. I was awake." That's when I knew he was coming back to life. Because alertness isn't just about caffeine or stimulation. It's about circulation, oxygen reaching the brain, blood nourishing the tissues. And that feeling, that presence isn't just physical, it's emotional. When a man feels more in his body, he becomes more in his world. That includes the bedroom. Now, I don't speak graphically about intimacy, and I won't start here. But I will say this. When blood flows, nerves wake up. When inflammation lowers, sensation improves. When the gut calms, hormones stabilize. And when those things happen together, touch feels different. Holding hands feels different. The gaze between two people who've shared a life that feels different. Not because something was added, but because nothing is missing anymore. The ginger blend helps restore that foundation. And if you pair it gently, without forcing with other habits, things begin to unfold. A slow 10-minute walk after breakfast, breathing deeper as you go. That alone supports endothelial function and oxygen delivery. The National Institutes of Health has published multiple studies showing that low-impact physical activity, even walking, improves vascular elasticity and nitric oxide levels, especially in older adults. And when you combine that with intentional hydration, regular rest, and this morning drink, you've created a system of support that doesn't fight the body, it listens to it. That's what older men need most. Not intensity, not regimens that exhaust and shame, but rhythms that invite. Because the truth is, We don't stop being men when we get older. We just forget how to feel like men. And that is what can be remembered. I've known men who built entire companies, survived wars, raised families, only to feel small and uncertain the first time their partner reached for them and they couldn't respond. But I've also known those same men to come back, to breathe easier, to smile again during touch, to look their wives in the eye and say, "I'm still here." The ginger blend doesn't promise that, but it opens the door. And if you stay consistent, even when nothing seems to be happening, the body begins to believe you again. It's like reintroducing yourself to someone who always loved you, but stopped hearing from you. That someone is your own body. So tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after, come back to it. Prepare your cup. Let the water heat, not boil aggressively. Slice the ginger gently. Include the lemon peel. Let the raisins soften. Let the warmth rise. And only once it cools slightly, add the honey. Stir slowly. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. And when you are, the benefits stack. Your immune system steadies. Your sleep deepens. Your joints ache less. You become more patient in conversation. You begin to initiate small physical gestures again. Not because you forced it, but because the body, given time and care, remembered. If this message touched you, share it quietly. The way men often do, not with fanfare, but with a nudge, a passing word. Try this, you might say. It helped me feel something again. And maybe that's all someone else needs. We're not here to conquer aging. We're here to live with it, to honor it, to feel deeply within it. That takes humility, and it takes rhythm. Every cup of warm ginger tea, every morning you choose to return to yourself. That's part of that rhythm. So if you're still here, listening, I thank you. And I'll leave you with this. A man in his 80s once sat across from me and said, "Doc, I don't need more time. I just want the time I have to feel like mine." And I knew exactly what he meant. He wasn't chasing youth. He was claiming presence. And he found it. Not in a prescription, but in a quiet act, done every morning, with a steady hand and an open heart. So place your hand on your chest. Feel that heartbeat. And whisper, if only to yourself, "I'm still here." That's where it begins. That's where it always begins.